I'm a big reader. I love to read, especially history books. My wife says, I don't know how you remember these names and dates and dates. And I said, well, it's if you take interest in something, you really hold on to it, you know.
We've all been told you never really stop learning. Well, it's people like Bob Snead who live and breathe by that motto. His curiosity led him to become the walking history book he is today.
In 1956 at Fort Bragg, I had gone to the movie and I'd seen this movie about the Buffalo Soldiers. Well, I never heard of Buffalo Soldiers, but I said, I'm going to watch this movie, and it's very interesting, you know. Well, I found out that the Buffalo Soldiers contributed tremendously to the building of the country. And I wondered, why had I not known this before? And it was just one of those facets that were left out of our history books. And there are many things in our history that's not in our history books.
The Buffalo Soldiers, who were once at the front lines fighting for our freedom, now rest in the shadows of American history. Bob's one of the few who's pushing them back to the forefront, taking them from the footnotes of history books to the canvases hanging at the Michelson Museum of Art in Marshall, Texas.
I did my first painting of the Buffalo Soldiers in '68, and every painting is of a person, an actual person, a place, or an incident, something that actually happened. Like this piece, The Errand of Corporal Ross. That's an actual incident. It happened on the 11th of April, 1878. I have told that part of American history that so few people know about. And I've tried to tell it in a way that people can appreciate it and understand it at the same time.
What have you done for African American history?
You know, I hope that what I have done with my art is contributed to telling the story of the contributions of the African Americans. Our history did not start with Martin Luther King, because so many of our people, my people, don't understand that. They don't know the contributions of the Buffalo Soldiers and the men. So many of us have crawled up on these men's back to get to where we are. Dr. George Washington Carver, very people know about him. Booker T. Washington, you know, Chappie James, Colin Powell.
The list goes on and on.
And the list goes on and on and on. Everybody says, that looks like a photograph. I said, well, no, that's a painting, and I did it with my left hand.
Like the Buffalo Soldiers, he's dedicated his life to preserving and paint. Bob, too, fought to protect this great nation. In his nearly 3 decades of service, Bob's military days were spent as a dual-rated pilot in Vietnam, carrying with him through the skies the same spirit as the soldiers before him. So did art help you get through the different turmoil of war that you were going through?
Yes, it did. It was my tension release. I don't know. I think everybody has some way of releasing tension, you know, and that was my way.
Bob's gallery is a tribute to those who sacrificed everything, years spent away from home, and the harsh ramifications of battle that continue to haunt them long after leaving the service. Bob's not shy when it comes to confronting the cruel residue war leaves behind. He's come face to face with his scars, and his newest foe is greater than anything he's encountered before.
I spent 30 years defending that flag. I had 3 Purple Hearts, well, you know, and I I served that flag with honor. I fought for our freedom, and I am still fighting. That's right. You know, right now I have stage 4 colon cancer from Agent Orange from Vietnam. I've had it for 4 years. I've been on chemo. You know, I've paid a price, and I'm still paying. This is the Apache. This is one of my favorites.
Freedom can easily be taken for granted. It's meeting people like Bob that make you realize there's a cost to freedom in this country. He's paid the price with each Purple Heart, each trip to the VA for chemo. And while cancer may be a more challenging enemy than he's ever met, he's prepared to take it head on.
It is probably the hardest thing I've ever had to face in my life. I'm going to die from it. I know that. The doctors told me that. But you know what? He also said to me, he said, Mr. Snead, you are going to live a lot longer than you think because you have the right attitude about dealing with this cancer. I said, Vietnam couldn't kill me. I'm not going to let cancer. So, that's my legacy, you know. People are going to say, those people that knew me are going to say, well, I knew Bob Snead. He's one of the nicest guys you'd ever want to meet. And that's the way I've lived my life with my art.